Hello everybody and welcome back to Space Engine. It has been about a month, but again, as I explained in the update video, computer died. Actually about a day after that sarcastic detox video I posted. Funny how that works. Anyways, ooh, little effects. Yeah, I just reinstalled Space Engine and then put the patch in, so I don't know, it might be better. Also, I have a far better graphics card this time, so who knows, things might look better. Right then. Let's see where to go. I had one request, so we're gonna go there. Aha! It's a brown dwarf of sorts. Brown dwarf are interesting because you don't quite know if they classify as stars or planets. Because they're kind of in that in-between phase. In a lot of ways, you could say that it is just a planet, because I'm pretty sure that brown dwarfs do not undergo fusion in their core. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Maybe? I'm unsure actually. I'll have to look that up. Citation needed on that. But either way, they're kind of this weird in between stars and planets. It's like they're very very big, and they glow in like infrared, but they're not quite stars, but they're not quite planets. They're just interesting. What else in the system? Ooh, an ice giant. And a frozen gas giant. A warm ice world. Sounds kind of like Canada. Cold ice giant. Cold ice giant. Frozen ice world. Let's go to the warm ice world, because that sounds temperate and kind of fun. And kind of binary, my goodness. Oh. Ah, here we go. Alright, I'm gonna have to reset all of the visual settings, because I forgot to do that, so things might be a little washed out. I'll fix that and sort that out later. Either way, everything's going great. Well, right then, things to talk about. It's been quite an interesting time in the wonderful world of spaceflight. SpaceX has their quote-unquote Starship Hopper mock-up. I really do hate that name, but then again, Starliner isn't an actual Starliner, and the Starfighter doesn't... Like, it's just a name, I get it, but it just seemed that Elon Musk kind of made it up because he was bored one day, or still on Ambien, I don't know, it depends on the time. But either way, the Starship, or BFR, I still prefer BFR, because it's kind of amusing in its own way, but whatever. Either way, that was built, and fell over. Blue Origin did another test flight 2 days ago, around there. Yes, yeah. I always film these same day, by the way. So, yeah. But either way, that went really great. I watched it. I love watching Blue Origin do stuff. Like, they're a lot of fun. I always say it's like in the competition between Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic. I'm always like, Blue Origin's probably gonna get tourist flights first. Not to say Virgin Galactic won't, it's just their setup is very complicated, and not the best. They kind of, again, it was during the Ansari X Prize, they went with the winners without much thought about the design. It was just like, oh, we're going to copy this and scale it up. And it's been kind of iffy. It's still going to probably work. The Spaceship 2 looks great, and it performs pretty great, but in terms of like research and development, designing a space plane is much more complicated than a rocket with a capsule. Alright, we have a temperate Terra with life. Info, please. Organic and unicellular, marine, abiogenic. Interesting. What's the atmosphere looking like? Mostly carbon dioxide, bit of nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur dioxide, water, argon, carbon monoxide, and neon. Fantastic. You know, I think carbon monoxide is one of the most common elements, or not elements, but molecules in the universe. Water is the most abundant molecule in the universe, but I think carbon monoxide is fairly close, or carbon dioxide, one of these two. I remember somebody talking about carbon monoxide. But either way, when it comes to molecules, water is the most abundant in the universe, and it's kind of nifty. It's absolutely everywhere. But it makes sense, hydrogen is the most common element, and then all the elements... What? Okay. And all the elements between hydrogen and carbon How is it described? It's like there isn't as much oxygen, but because oxygen and hydrogen bond readily, and there's so much hydrogen, that oxygen will mostly bond with hydrogen, and the other elements don't necessarily bond in the same way or as easy or something. So basically, you get tons and tons of water in the universe. Funny how that works, eh? White main sequence star. We're talking about space tourism, right? But yeah, the Starship hopper fell over, and the top part broke. The actual important parts are fine, don't worry, but the top part kind of crumpled. Funny how a company that makes water towers wasn't able to make a rocket. Oh well. Also, to clarify, I do not hate Elon Musk, okay? I find his behavior kind of off-putting, and I hate his fan base, but I don't hate him personally. And I love his companies. I love SpaceX. I love Tesla. Um, Hyperloop is kind of dumb, and the Boring Company isn't innovative in any way, but SpaceX and Tesla are great. Yeah, just to clarify, the idea of the Hyperloop isn't new. Like, people are like, Elon Musk invented this new train that is in a vacuum tube, and it's like, he didn't invent it, he just popularized it again, because the vacuum train's been around for almost 100 years. In fact, there's a paper written by Robert Goddard talking about the idea of a vacuum train, where you have a train car and an evacuated tube traveling. And by Robert Goddard, I mean the Robert Goddard of, like, the first liquid-fueled rocket, Robert Goddard. Like, turn of the century, Robert Goddard. So, the Hyperloop isn't a new idea. He just gave it a different name, and didn't really change it beyond that. I kind of hope that it succeeds, because... Ooh, a Zirconium star. Because, you know, it's kind of nifty, but it's just kind of dumb at the same time. Like, the logistics of keeping a vacuum tube, like, it's just that big, and people are like, oh, it's a partial vacuum, and it's like, it doesn't matter. If you look at the specs, it's a partial vacuum, but it's still mostly a vacuum, and just keeping it at that level is, I don't know, it's energy intensive, and all it would take is like one idiot with a like 22 rifle somewhere in the middle of nowhere, putting a small hole in it, and you could destroy the entire thing. Or thermal expansion breaking a seal, or like it's not a terribly practical idea. But whatever, we'll see what happens. It might be a cache sink, it might actually work, who knows. It probably won't work, but whatever. At least SpaceX did a good job with vertical landing rockets. Again, Elon Musk didn't invent that. Vertical takeoff and landing rocket boosters have been around since the 90s. SpaceX just kind of like perfected and did it properly. However, Blue Origin was the first to recover, like, to land a booster from space, but that was suborbital, so it's a little different. And if you look at prices for boring machines, some things Elon Musk said about like how much cost effective his company is compared to like other tunneling things, it isn't true. It's like there's actually very little, if any, price savings with what he's doing compared to what other companies do. The only difference is that larger machines cost more to operate, and his isn't terribly big, so of course it's going to be cheaper because it's a smaller tunnel. But whatever. Again, it would be kind of cool to make tunnels, I guess. Ooh, an oceana with life. Subglacial. So, yeah, Hyperloop and... Well, he actually doesn't own Hyperloop anymore. I think he gave it away. But Hyperloop and the Boring Company, they kind of make me go, eh. But SpaceX and Tesla are great. I really want Tesla to succeed, and I want SpaceX to do all of its stuff. And I hope Elon Musk's personality improves with time. Alright, general. Abiogenic, subterranean, organic, unicellular. Well, nice. Actually, even at best, I want him to at least say, like, get his fan base to stop being so cultish, because it's really uncomfortable. It's like if anybody says anything critical of Elon Musk, his fan bases will like hoard them, like come at them like it's really weird and uncomfortable. I see it on Twitter all the time. Like they just like dogpile on, and it's almost like going to a church and insulting their god but they like attack you afterwards. That's kind of what it's like. It's really, really weird looking, and I wish they would stop being horrible people. Oh well. People on the internet, what do you expect? Well, I mean, I expect better, but I don't know. I was pretty awful when I was younger, so... Seriously, I was like the worst teenager ever. I was your stereotypical edgy, like, high school student. So, yeah, I can't say... I'm one to talk, but at least I changed. Oh well. Anyways, enough of that. It just seems like on Twitter, it's been kind of an interesting couple of years with Elon and his fan base. Well, mostly last year, but... Anyways, on to other topics. What other topics are there? Strato Launcher cut back and is now an unfortunate waste of time because they're not going to build a rocket anymore. They just have their airplane. And they're like, we can launch Pegasus rockets, and it's like, that's nice, but the Pegasus isn't cost-effective or competitive. So you have a big airplane now that was being built to launch custom rockets, and you're not doing that anymore, and it's very sad. And actually, going back to SpaceX, this is actually good. Don't worry. They're getting ready to launch their first uncrewed Dragon 2 capsule, and I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be really cool because after this flight, by sometime end of this year, if all goes well, they can launch the first astronauts to the ISS. And I've been kind of looking at like the competition between SpaceX and Boeing to see who can get the to the space station first with the crew, and I'm pretty sure SpaceX might get it, unless something happens in the interim. But I'm pretty sure SpaceX will get it, and that's really cool. Although I do like Boeing Starliner as well, which is weird because I'm usually critical of Boeing. Actually, no, I usually trash on Lockheed Martin more than Boeing because Lockheed Martin is evil. But whatever. Alright, atmosphere. Mostly carbon dioxide, oxygen, sulfur dioxide, water, nitrogen, argon, helium, carbon monoxide, and neon. Quite the planet. Air density, speed of sound, atmosphere. What's the atmospheric pressure like? My goodness, that's a thick atmosphere. E. Then again, Venus is a thick atmosphere. And I'm quite fond of Venus. The great thing about Venus is that its atmosphere is actually just curious enough that the prospects of there being life there can't be ruled out. Ooh, look at that. It's like above the galactic plane. Cause like there's some elements in the atmosphere. There's this one compound. It's it's like resistant to sulfuric acid. I forget what it's called, but it's found in the atmosphere. And if there's microbes that use that in their membranes, it would make them resistant to the corrosive nature of the atmosphere. There's also compounds that can be made biologically, but are like they're readily broken down in UV light or something like that, and they're found in Venus's atmosphere, which means that they're being replenished somehow. They might be geological, they might be biological, nobody quite knows, but the point is they're generally made biologically, and they're very short-lived. So the fact that it's present in the atmosphere, why did I come here? Huh. The reason like that it's present in the atmosphere indicates that there might be something going on. It's kind of cool. There's also the upper atmosphere seems to strangely absorb UV radiation. They don't quite know why, but microbes living off UV rays could be a culprit for that, which is kind of cool. And I think one of the more interesting bits of possibilities is during the Venera missions that the Soviets launched to Venus, they found strange particulate in the atmosphere, like these strange particles of uniform size that were about the same size as bacteria here on Earth. However, it just kind of noticed them. It didn't actually study them because it didn't have the ability to. But still, so it's like you have these possibilities for microbes in the upper atmosphere. The conditions are really nice in the upper atmosphere, and there's just some chemical oddities in the atmosphere. So it's like we really need to go back to Venus and look. Just look. But Venus is largely ignored. Mars takes all the attention, I guess. I like Mars, but Venus is just great. Oh, we have aerial life in the gas giant. It'd be kind of cool to find aerial life in like Jupiter or Saturn. I don't think we will, but it'd be kind of cool if we could. So like the prospects of there being life floating in the atmosphere of gas giants is also really cool, and I can see it potentially happening. It's like the life might not start there. It might start on like an ice shell moon or another planetary body around the planet, and then get seeded into its atmosphere due to collisions, and this aerosol bacteria could just like learn to live in like the air currents, and that's just a cool idea. My goodness, it's dry in here. Like I really should have like a thing of water or tea with me, but I usually have tea, but I don't have any right now, so I'm just drying out slowly as I talk. No, it's actually really good to be back in Space Engine, and these lens effects are kind of interesting. Ooh, a cluster. A globular. Let's go there. Why? Why not? Oh. Alright. Yeah, I need to do more different videos too. Like, I'm going airsofting tomorrow, and like I said in my update video, I'm going to see about doing some videos related to that. I have this little camera that fits in one of the loops on my boonie hat, so I'll probably bring that tomorrow and see if I can get any recordings. It doesn't work terribly well in dark conditions. Wow, that like reminds me of one of the Doctor Who intros. It doesn't work terribly well in like dark conditions, and the field I go to, it's an indoor field. It is fairly dark, but who knows? I'll give it a shot. I'll see if I can get any usable footage. If I can, then I'll make a video of it. If not, well, then I'll still make a video of it anyways, because why not? But yeah, so I have that going on tomorrow. The camera I got is actually this really cheap, crappy, it's like a little quote-unquote HD camera you can get as like a dash cam, but I got it from like China on eBay for really cheap, and I originally got to put in one of my rockets, which hasn't flown, but if the camera breaks, I don't care, because it was like $8. I do have an actual action camera that has really good picture quality, but I'm not going to use that for now anyways, because I can only really fix it to my my harness, like the shoulder, and not my hat or anything like that right now. So it doesn't make for good viewing, but also that camera I got for my balloons, and I do not want to break it before I use my balloons, because, well, that would just be really unfortunate. Like it's a flight critical piece of hardware for at least one of the balloons, so I don't want to lose that. Actually, for both of them technically. So, don't guarantee HD quality or pro plays, but if all works out, I can have an airsoft gameplay video sometime this weekend, and that could be kind of cool. Unless something bad happens and I can't record, but that almost never happens. I'm not very good, mind you, but it's fun, it's activity, and what else do you need in life? Except for food, water, and oxygen. I guess companionship, but people are frustrating sometimes. My cat's next to me, and he's been actually very well behaved. He normally bothers and complains, or wants to sit on my lap, or turn off my computer by walking over it like he did an hour ago. Oh well. Almost 20 minutes, and now I'm talking about my cat. That's just wonderful. Just wonderful indeed. You'd think that I'd like have more to talk about, or I could at least script out some things, but I don't like doing scripts. I like just random banter. Ooh, 9 planets. That's familiar. Now we have 8 planets, unless you count Pluto, which a dwarf planet is still a planet. It's a different type of planet. Oy. Also, I saw something, some new calculations and observations that show that there might not be a planet 9, and that the weird grouping of like the dwarf planet, transcendental, like the or not, what are they? The Kuiper Belt objects. There we go. That we found might have something to do with larger than theorized amount of material out there in the inner Oort cloud and Kuiper belt, which could be doing it. Which is still kind of cool, but also kind of sad, because I would rather a thinner Oort cloud in a Planet 9 than a thicker Oort cloud and no Planet 9. However, it hasn't ruled out the planet, because it still works in the calculations, and like, all that, the simulations. But, who knows? Anyways, that's been 20 minutes, so I'm going to wrap it up there. Let's find a planet to go to. Carbon Star. Sure, why not? Not a planet, but it's a place. Alright, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll be back with more stuff later. Leave comments below about where you want me to go, or things to talk about. Seriously, I'll talk about anything. Literally anything. So, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and space.